Jungkook was not ready to go home. I'm not worthy of being welcomed until I become stronger. Is this humility or a cry for help? Wait, wasn't Jungkook supposed to be going home? The world cheered when news broke that BTS's golden magne, Jungkook, was finally completing his military service on June 11, 2025. Fans prepared their banners, the media lined up at the gates, and millions awaited his return with joyful anticipation. But what no one expected, not the fans, not the media, not even those closest to him, was the heartbreaking, soul-stirring confession he made just hours before leaving the military base in Yongpyeong. I'm not ready to go home yet. I'm not worthy of being welcomed until I become stronger, Jungkook said, his voice low, his gaze distant, as if fighting a battle deeper than anyone could see. The words sent shockwaves through the internet. How could Jungkook, the youngest member of the most successful boy band in the world, the very same man who sold out stadiums, shattered Billboard records, and inspired millions, think he wasn't worthy? And so, the question began to spread like wildfire across social media. Is this humility? Or something much darker? This wasn't the Jungkook the world had left behind 18 months ago. All smiles, youthful charm, and bright-eyed energy. This Jungkook had walked through fire. He had worn the weight of national duty on his shoulders. And now, facing the moment of return, he hesitated. Why? In an exclusive source close to Bigot Music, it's revealed that Jungkook had expressed concerns days before his official discharge. He kept asking, "What if I'm not good enough anymore?" the source said. He was worried the world had moved on. He wasn't scared of performing again, he was scared of not meeting the expectations. What expectations? The same ones that come with being Jungkook of BTS, the same ones that demand perfection every time he breathes, that analyze every strand of his hair, every second of his eye contact, every note he sings, and every moment he doesn't. This wasn't the first time he'd hinted at internal pressure. Even before enlistment, Jungkook had confessed in various interviews that he sometimes struggled with the weight of his identity. Sometimes I ask myself, do I really deserve all of this? He once told a fan during a live, but now, after 18 months of isolation, reflection, and regimentation in the military, those thoughts seem to have grown roots. And yet, isn't this the very thing that proves he's the real deal? Because let's be honest, only those who care deeply ever question themselves this much. Jungkook's words are not weakness. They're the markings of someone who refuses to fake strength. Someone who wants to return not just for the applause, but with the authenticity his fans have always known in him. Someone who believes that love, especially the kind Army gives, should not be taken for granted. And perhaps that's why this moment, painful, raw, honest, has become one of the most unforgettable in his entire career. Instead of riding home with fireworks, Jungkook lingered behind. Cameras caught him quietly helping others pack, even after his own belongings were ready. He reportedly asked the commanding officer if he could stay a little longer to help the newer recruits adjust. His request, humble and unexpected, was denied only because of protocol, but the message was clear. He didn't want to be celebrated. He wanted to be useful. How many celebrities, on the day of their grand return, would turn to the world and say, "Wait, not yet. I haven't earned this?" He wasn't being dramatic. He wasn't fishing for sympathy. He was being real, and that reality hit fans hard. Weverse exploded with comments from ARMYs expressing a complex storm of emotions: pride, sadness, empathy, even guilt. "I wish we could hug him and tell him he doesn't have to be stronger. He already is," wrote one. Another posted, "Jungkook, we didn't wait for perfection. We waited for you." The deeper question behind all this remains: what created this need in him to become stronger before feeling worthy? Is it the impossibly high standards fans place on idols? Is it the weight of being the face of a global movement? Or is it the quiet personal battles he's been fighting for years behind the lens? No one knows exactly, but what we do know is that this moment, this silent pause, this delay in joy, is now as iconic as any of BTS's greatest performances, and it comes with echoes, because even after he did step into his father's car, yes, after finally accepting the love waiting for him at the gate, his face still showed traces of uncertainty. Cameras caught him glancing back at the base, as if still unsure whether he was allowed to let go, and that, perhaps, is the most haunting part of this entire story. Even as he sat in the passenger seat, his father beside him, the door quietly closed. Fans say he whispered, "I hope I can give them more." ARMY doesn't want more, ARMY wants him. Whole, healthy, and at peace. And maybe that's the conversation we should all be having now. Not when is the next comeback? Not what song is dropping next. Not is he still the same Jungkook? But rather, are we, as a society, allowing our stars to be human? Because if Jungkook, loved by millions, praised for his dedication, known for his emotional intelligence, and hailed as a generational talent, still feels not worthy, what message does that send to everyone else struggling in silence? In a heartbreaking twist of irony, the strongest idols often feel like they must become stronger. And yet, Jungkook's moment of hesitation, his doubt, may be the very act that makes him the most deserving of welcome. It wasn't a sign of weakness. It was a badge of integrity, of heart, of someone who doesn't just want to sing to you. He wants to sing for you. And maybe, just maybe, when he finally walks onto that stage again, not because he must, but because he feels ready, it won't be the sound system or the lighting rig or the thunderous cheers that matter most. It'll be the quiet voice inside him that says, "Now I'm home. Now I'm strong enough. Not because I'm perfect, but because I'm loved as I am." And that's what makes Jungkook not just a superstar, but the story doesn't end with that emotional ride home. In fact, what followed only deepened the layers of this already heart-wrenching moment. Just 2 nights after his return, Jungkook logged onto Weverse at 2:14 a.m. Korea Standard Time, an odd hour, one he used to choose when he wanted to speak freely, away from the pressure of thousands watching in real time. Fans, ever alert, caught it within seconds. What he posted wasn't a selfie. It wasn't even a full paragraph. It was one line. "Still figuring out how to be me again." And that line broke something wide open. Within an hour, the phrase became a trending topic in over 30 countries. TikTok videos, edits, Twitter threads, and even Reddit discussions flooded in. Influencers outside the K-pop world picked it up. Mental health professionals started using it in real-time dialogues, with one therapist saying on X, formerly Twitter, that one sentence from Jungkook just summed up the entire post-military identity crisis most young men face. But this wasn't just about any man. This was Jungkook, the same young artist who had once looked into the camera and promised ARMY, "I'll be better for you," now admitting, humbly and vulnerably, that he wasn't quite sure who that better version really was anymore. It wasn't just an idol statement. It was a mirror to millions, and fans knew it. They began sharing their own versions of the sentence in different languages. J. Church Encore comment redevenir-moi. "Todavía estoy tratando de volver a ser yo. Masih mencari cara untuk kembali menjadi diriku sendiri." All inspired by one soft-spoken man in South Korea who chose honesty over illusion. And yet, not everyone reacted with compassion. Some voices, particularly from media critics and netizens unfamiliar with the pressure of idol culture, began questioning, is Jungkook losing his edge? Should a global star admit vulnerability like this? Is he even ready for a comeback if he's this uncertain? But ARMY clapped back harder than ever. No. One fan responded in a viral post. "This isn't weakness. This is emotional fluency." Jungkook is leading an entire generation by showing that strength doesn't mean being unshaken. It means daring to heal. And healing, clearly, was now part of his story. Sources close to Bigot confirmed that Jungkook has opted to delay his official public schedule for a few weeks. While plans for a BTS reunion event are still set for summer 2025, likely after Suga's military service ends on June 21st, Jungkook has requested personal time before rejoining large-scale activities. According to insiders, the agency has not only agreed, but is actively supporting his emotional transition. The words in the agency's internal memo: "Let him breathe. He's earned that much." But behind the headlines and corporate support, the deeper narrative continues to unfold. This is not just a story of a soldier returning home. This is the rebirth of a man learning to feel human again. And as this rebirth happens, Fans are preparing for what may be the most emotional music of Jungkook's entire career, a series of unverified leaks. Never confirmed, but whispered across Discord servers and private fan circles, suggests that Jungkook has been working on a stripped-down, acoustic, bass solo project since before enlistment. Tracks allegedly touch on identity, silence, solitude, and the concept of time lost and time regained. One song title, still unconfirmed but repeated often among fan theorists, is rumored to be unwelcome, a nod, perhaps, to the way he described his reluctance to return home. If this is true, then we're not just about to hear another K-pop album, we're about to witness the documented healing of one of the most beloved artists of our generation. And here's the twist. It's not going to be pretty, not the way idol music usually is. It's going to be raw, emotional, real, because Jungkook is not trying to be your flawless fantasy anymore. He's trying to be himself. And if you've ever loved BTS for more than just the choreography, if you've loved them for their vulnerability, for their brokenness, for their desperate need to connect beyond the stage, then you already know. This version of Jungkook might be the most powerful yet, not the polished icon in Gucci, not the viral dance machine on TikTok, but the man with dark circles under his eyes, sitting quietly in a room full of fans, whispering the truth. I'm still trying. And that truth is everything. Because in a world of curated feeds and superficial perfection, what's more magnetic than someone who tells you, I'm still healing? And that's okay. Maybe you are too. Maybe this isn't the Jungkook fans were waiting for. Maybe he's something even more necessary. And so now we wait. Not for the comeback stage, not for the MV teaser, not even for the press release. We wait for the moment when Jungkook no longer feels like he has to earn our love, but when he finally believes what ARMY has been screaming all along. You were always enough, even in silence, especially then. Because sometimes, the most unforgettable chapter in a legend's story isn't the one written on stage, it's the one they write with trembling hands, alone, in the dark, and choose to share anyway. And Jungkook just did.